Hello. In this video, I'd like to demonstrate my understandings of the key concepts for my recent assignment on quantitative methods. I'll walk through the 5 observations from my paper and discuss how to approach them from a research perspective, paying special attention to the procedural and ethical challenges that are involved in designing a study, speaking solely in hypotheticals here. Let's start with the first topic I chose, which is the daily commute. My observation was that traffic seems lighter when school is out. This led to the research question: is there a significant difference in average commute times for adult workers when local schools are in session compared to when they are on break? In this proposed study, the independent variable is the school session status, whether school is in session or out of session. The dependent variable, which is what we would measure, is the average daily commute time in minutes. However, studying this is more complex than it seems. There are significant procedural concerns here. For example, summer break often coincides with peak vacation season, so fewer people might be driving to work anyway. There's also more road construction in the summer, which can increase commute times, and weather is also another factor. To get accurate results, a study would need to control these specific variables, perhaps by comparing weeks with similar weather and construction profiles. There are also ethical concerns, primarily around privacy. To gather accurate commute data, you might need to use GPS or mobile apps, and it is essential that this data is fully anonymous and aggregated to protect individuals' privacy. Participants must give clear, informed consent and know exactly what data is being collected and why. Next, let's look at the next topic I chose, which was workplace parking. The observation here is that the parking lot is less full on Mondays and Fridays. The research question is, does the day of the week affect the percentage of occupied spaces in a workplace parking lot? The independent variable would be the day of the work week, whether it be Monday through Friday versus midweek. And the dependent variable is the total percentage of occupied parking spaces. Systematically, the rise of hybrid work is a major hurdle. A half empty lot on a Friday might be due to the company's work from home policy, not just a random fluctuation. Holidays often fall on Mondays, which would also skew the data. Company events, like a mandatory Wednesday meeting, could also create artificial spikes in attendance. A good study must account for all of these. Ethically, monitoring a parking lot can feel like a surveillance to employees. They might worry that management is trying to, say, track their attendance or work hours. And to avoid creating a culture of distrust, data collection must be anonymous. The study should only count the number of cars, not record license plates or monitor who is driving them. And transparency with employees is crucial. The third topic I chose was about a child playing outside. As well, here in Oklahoma, where I live, currently temperatures have been a bit warm. The observation is that extreme heat seems to reduce children's desire to play outside, which the research question would then be: does an ambient outdoor temperature above 90 degrees Fahrenheit decrease the time children spend playing outdoors compared to moderate temperatures? Here, the independent variable is the ambient outdoor temperature, and the dependent variable is the total time spent playing outside. The main procedural challenge is isolating the child's motivation. It's often the parent, not the child, who decides it's too hot to play. Other factors like humidity, air quality, or even access to a swimming pool can dramatically influence the decision. Attributing a drop in playtime to heat alone would be inaccurate without controlling these other environmental factors. Ethically, this research involves minor and potential health risks. The study must be purely observational and can never encourage children to play in extreme heat. Researchers must have clear safety thresholds to stop data collection if a child shows any sign of heat related distress. Active and informed parental consent is non negotiable, and parents must be reminded of their right to bring their children inside at any time. My fourth topic is a child reading. My observation was that my daughter can read with background noise. The research question: does the presence of moderate background noise affect a child's reading comprehension scores compared to reading in complete silence? The independent variable is the acoustic environment, so noise versus silence. And the dependent variable would be reading comprehension performance, measured by a quiz. Noise is hard to define, as the noise from a fan is different from a noise from the TV or people talking. This type and volume has to be standardized. The reading material has to match the child's reading level, and we'd also have to consider things like the time of day, the individual's differences like ADHD, which could affect the results. Ethically, putting a child in a distracting environment could cause frustration and anxiety, making them feel like they are failing. It's important to explain the test in a kid-friendly, kind, biverbal agreement and keep the stakes low. The test should be presented as a way to see how the room sounds, not to measure how smart they are. And the child's emotional well-being is the top priority. Finally, the last topic I chose was the grocery store. The observation is that the store is busier on weekends. The research question: the average daily customer foot traffic in a grocery store is significantly higher on weekend days compared to weekdays. The independent variable is the part of the week, so weekend versus weekday, and the dependent variable is the customer foot traffic. From a procedural standpoint, measuring foot traffic is tricky. A one-day sale or a holiday during the week can skew the averages. Even weather forecasts can cause midweek panic buying. Also, raw foot traffic can be misleading. A family of four shopping on a Saturday count as four people, but they might be a single purchasing unit. We would need to find a way to distinguish between raw body count and actual purchasing customers. Ethically, while a grocery store is a public place, people don't expect to be individually tracked. Any method used to count people, like cameras or sensors, must be passive and anonymous, without collecting any personal information like faces or license plates. Tracking smartphone signals is especially problematic. The goal is to collect quantitative data on volume, not to profile individual shoppers. In conclusion, these five examples illustrate a core theme in social science research. While it's easy to observe patterns in our daily lives, designing a valid and ethical study to test these observations requires careful planning. We must always consider the procedural challenges of controlling confounding variables and the ethical responsibility to protect the privacy, safety, and well-being of all participants. Thank you for the opportunity to explain my understanding of these concepts, and until next time.